Can students handle a fail? The Failure of Failure by Ben Levin. The author, Ben Levin, is Canada Research Chair in Educational Leadership and Policy at the Ontario Institute for the Study of Education at the University of Toronto. So, the media at the CBC has put a negative connotation on school practices of giving credit to students that have failed courses without using hard data to do so. The article attempts to discuss what to do about students who don't make the grade. The first point states that evidence and statistics that failing students in school hinder their performances the following year and increase the likelihood of these students dropping out. The second point highlights the fact that students in Canada continue to fail in school and drop out at significant rates. Schools do not record reasons for students failing, and this lack of information and unwillingness to change ensures that the system will continue showing these sad statistics. The third point explains how the practice of the system will be difficult to change due to habit and routine. Therefore, even with statistics pointing to a necessary change in the system, change looks unlikely anytime soon. The final point concludes that statistics, not politicians or old habits, should dictate education policy. There is also no sure alternative to the current system for anyone to agree with. This leads to further uncertainty about the path that Canada's public system will take. So how does this relate to the Ministry of Education policy? There are two quotes. Teachers will use their professional judgment to determine which specific expectations should be used to evaluate achievement of the overall expectations and which ones will be accounted for in instruction and assessment, but not necessarily evaluated. Also, determining a report card grade will involve teachers' professional judgment and interpretation of evidence and should reflect the student's most consistent level of achievement with special consideration given to more recent evidence. Therefore, teachers use their best judgment when they choose the specific expectations from the overall expectations in order to cover the curriculum. Teachers also use personal judgment when grading students. This shows that different teachers may vary in what content is taught and what grades are given. Therefore, giving a student a 46% when another teacher would assess it as 56% may be unfair to the student. If they were to pass, it would not be undeserving. Another way it relates to Ministry of Education policy are these two quotes. Individual boards will work collaboratively with their school communities to determine the lower of the range of percentage marks below 50% that teachers may record on the report cards of students in grade 9 to 12. It is important that a consistent approach is adopted among all the schools of the board. R and a percentage marks below 50% indicate the need for the development of strategies to address the student's specific learning needs in order to support his or her success in learning. However, only the overall expectations for which the students did not demonstrate achievement at level 1 or above in the original course as indicated in the credit recovery profile must be covered in instruction, assessed, and evaluated in the credit recovery program. The system promotes the idea that students need to redo courses in order to address that student's learning needs when statistically it is shown that the student isn't likely to pass that course a second time. So, personal reflection. When I was in grade 11 high school math, I was caught cheating on my math exam. I became disenfranchised with the 50% I received in the course, and when given the opportunity to retake it to improve my average, I reluctantly declined. Even if I failed, I would not have redone the course. This is because I was this interested and found any reason to not have to retake the course and remind myself of the failure of the exam. So as a final, how this impacted my teaching practice, I understand that failure can be a great impact on the psyche of a student, and I will attempt to intervene in students' issues faster to prevent them from failing and implement more contemporary assessment strategies if possible to prevent failure in courses and demoralization in school.